Hey, I'm back. This is Chandler for Melda Production, so I thought I would do part 2 of my video series on making GUIs in MSoundFactory. So today I want to show some of the more advanced stuff, try to answer a few people's questions, and maybe show you some things that you may not know, hopefully. And so I thought I'd start with some things that are perhaps a little bit interesting. Like, for example, a quick tip here. If you're actually doing this and you think, I don't want to have to keep moving back and forth between the edit screen and the easy screen, one thing you can do is just hit Control Alt and then click on one of the controls, and the multi-parameter will come up, so you can just do it directly from there. So if I do that, I'm holding down Control and Alt, hit depth, and you see my depth parameter comes up. And so I showed you a few things last time, but I thought I'd show you something here if you want to enable or disable controls. So, as we see here, let's say I wanted to disable the rate for some reason. I really don't want to do that, but this is just an example. So, I'm going to go into here, and you see now we're at multi-parameter 17. The next one up should be 18. So I just look in here for multi-parameters. Multi-parameter 17. Look to the right, and you see something that says enabled. So I just turn this on, and now, when I go here, whoa, I hit 17 by accident, so now it's stuck like this, which is really what I don't want, but you get the idea. It turned it off. And let me go back and load that again. But that's what the enable and disable does. It makes it so you can't click the button or knob, which is useful in some cases, like for example here, if I have the delay and I have the sync. When I have the sync on, I don't want the delay times here. And when I have the delay on, I don't want the sync times here. So, like that. And if you go into here, you can see that's what it does. And it's just using banks to do this. So enabling multi-parameter 182 or 181, which I'm guessing is this one, and 182 is this one. And it just switches back and forth. And it also is turning on the synchronization at the same time. So you can see that's very interesting and useful. One other thing that I did here that's also useful, if you look inside, is this. So you see here, this controls the depth of the tremolo, which is what you'd expect. So if I turn it up, you can hear it. A little bit faster. Okay, so that's easy enough to understand. But let's look at this down here. So here we have tremolo. And it says tremolo 1 bypass, and you're thinking, okay, what's that doing? And what it does is, if we look inside, it will actually bypass the tremolo module when the depth is at 0. And that's just to save a little bit of CPU. So I have my tremolo here. And we see the depth. And if you look here, it's blue and highlighted. But if I move it all the way down, it's off. And that's going to save us a little bit of CPU. But you're wondering, okay, how did I do that? And why is it not switching over immediately or in the middle or something? And the reason is, you see here, it's on and off, but look at the transformation shape. So this one here, it's all the way on, which is the top here, until you get to the very edge where it's like 0.25. When I get to 0.25, it's just going to bypass itself. And so that's really useful if you want to use things that go on and off, or if you have things where, let's say the rate at the beginning, I think, okay, from 0.1 all the way to 1, it kind of takes almost like 15% of the range or the sweep of the knob. So what I could do is go into here and actually change this a little bit already. I can go even higher, like that. Let's say if I go up to 90, okay? Now if I check this again, it goes from 0.1 to 1 very quickly. And then it slows down as I move higher. So you can adjust that any way you want. You can not only do that, but I could put other things in here so it moves in some crazy way like this, which I don't know why I'd want to do this with a knob, but if you look at the knob and what's happening, you can see, oh wow, it's going up and down and doing all sorts of weird things. So that's something you can do if you like. Another thing I'll show you, which is kind of cool, if you want to save space sometimes, here you see the amp. So if I push this, ooh, it pops out, which is really interesting. I turn it off, it's gone. And you're thinking, okay, how am I doing that? And that is using the visible parameter. So I'll just Control Alt click here again so we can pull it out. And you see now it has visible. So I'm controlling these parameter 10, 11, 12, which is what these are. And when it's on, they're visible. When it's off, they go away, and it saves space and everything. And you can do the same thing there if I wanted to actually turn that off, which, am I doing that? Let me see. Am I turning the amp off? Yeah, I'm bypassing the amp. So I'm saving space, I'm saving CPU, all sorts of stuff. So that's always good, and it's something you can add to your designs. So I'll move on a little bit. I went over those types of things. Another thing someone asked me about was bars and how to use the bars for things. If you're wondering, what do you mean by bars? I'll try to show you here. So here's one I made, and basically you see here, it's just like a synth, and if I do it, it's a step sequencer that's going on it's controlling the filter. So if I play it, it sounds like this. And so the step sequencer is controlled here. So whatever I put into here, it will stay. So if I have it like just straight like this, or if I move things kind of randomly here, up and down, like this, sounds like this. Okay, and you're probably wondering, okay, how do you do that? And it's fairly easy, actually. So if you look in here, I'll show you, and I'll try to give you an example at the end. So all I'm doing is I have like values here. So I have value 1, and it just says bars start. Okay, easy enough. The next one should also be just normal. You don't need anything special for that. Same thing here. And then it's just at the very end. So the last one, bar 16, it says bars end. Okay, and so I'll try to give you like a quick example. Let's say I'll make something from scratch. Okay, so let's go into here, get an oscillator, let's get a filter. Somebody's asking before online about like, okay, how do you work the step sequencer? So let's see, I'll just set this here, and if I go into frequency here, I can drag an LFO here if I want instead of clicking it. So I'll just drag LFO 1 in there. Now that's hooked up. Click here, open it up, and now let's do sync. I don't know, what do I want to do? Half a bar, I guess. And now here it looks like an LFO, but I can change that. Where it says step here, just turn this all the way up to 100%. Now it's a step sequencer. Hit edit, and I can go in here and change the number of steps, etc. So let's do 4 just because I'm lazy and I don't want to do a whole thing here just for this demonstration. And now to adjust this, I can go into here and just hit quick learn, first one, quick learn, the second one, quick learn, the third one, and quick learn, the fourth one. Okay, and now if I move these, you see, oh wow, they move according to that. And if I play it, so it's following that. So that's what I want. But if I look here, that's kind of a mess. That's not at all what I want. So what I need to do is take the first value and hit bars start in here, like that. And then the last value, bars end. And I'm not sure if they need to be in the same group. Let me check. No, it's okay. Even if they're in the same group, it's kind of all right. So here we go. So you get the idea. And from there you can do various things like this. It seems like, I don't really like this color. Let me make this a little bit lighter. You usually can't get the exact color you want, but you can get lighter than what it was, like this. So okay, it looks a little bit lighter than the other ones, or I can make it like a red or whatever I wanted to in here. Another thing I might want to do is change the name. So instead of value 1, I'll put like, I don't know, step 1, or just step, I guess. And it'll show it. And it also shows the percentage here. I believe there's another way to change it. So if you go into this part, it says by first parameter, but I could just use percentages, or I could use percentages from negative 100 to 100, or if I'm using banks, I could use the bank name for this. It just depends on what you want to do. So now I have it to positive and negative 100 here, so you can see that. But anyways, mess around with that, mess around with the styles to get something that you like. So that's one of them, and I'll go, and somebody else asked me about the XY pad, so I'll show you how to do that. And before I was just like right clicking and deleting this, but there's actually a faster way to do that too. If I just hit was it Alt click like this, it deletes it. So just hold down Alt, click it, and it'll delete those also. And if you're wondering like, how do I delete everything here, just reset all multi-parameters if you want to reset everything. If not, just hit one like this and it'll reset that one, or you can go into Manager and select the ones you want here and then reset them. Everything's good. The other one somebody asked me about was the XY pad, so I'll just use a basic oscillator for that also. So I can go into here, and let's say I wanted to change the number of voices. Let's learn it. Quick learn here, and maybe the detune, for example. Quick learn, detune. Okay. And now I have both of these, and for the XY pad, both of these need to be next to each other. So let's go into here, XY pad, and I believe this one also needs to be XY pad here. Okay. And now I have detune and voices. So if I go down here, so you get the idea. You can move that around however you want. This one I'm just using the normal XY pad. I could make it bigger or smaller. Let's see, like XY pad centered big, like this. So you see now, instead of the voices and detune being on those sides, or on the bottoms and the side, now they're kind of in the middle, which might look better. And another thing you can do, you might say like, I don't want the voices as X and the detune as Y. All you have to do is just switch them around. I can use the Manager like this. There we go. And now it should be the other way, if you prefer that. So there's lots of things you can do with this and mess around with, which is really, really useful depending on what you want to do, especially if you want to do like morphing stuff. And another thing to keep in mind is, while you have this here, if you hit automation right in your DAW, when you're moving this around while the track is playing, it will record it for you. So if you have like some kind of evolving pad and you want to record your movements in there, you can do that. And one of the last things I want to show is some of the MIDI capability. So let me go to here and choose something I have. I don't know exactly what I'm going to use here. Okay, so I have this back, and there's a few different ways we can actually hook up things to MIDI. I think the most general way, and perhaps the easiest one, is to use this little MIDI button on the bottom right here. So if I go into here, just click it, and now one of the first things you want to do is make sure that this is checked. So let's say I want to hook this up to my mod wheel. So after that's hooked up, look over here where it says learn. If it's, sometimes it's already, like clicked for you, but if it's not, click it, and then move your mod wheel. Okay? So now it's changed to global MIDI wheel here. And now whatever parameter I want to modulate or control, move it here on the GUI. So here. And then turn learn off. So don't click a bunch of other things, because all those things will be learned and it'll switch back and forth. But now that I have that, the sharpness should move with my mod wheel, which it is, which is good. Now there's a few things I can do from here. So like right now it has the volume or the value at 0 and the max value at 100%. And I can change that if I think I don't want this going to 100%. I just move it up here to like 30% or so, and maybe move this down to 80%. So now, even though I'm moving my mod wheel all the way down and up, it's not going the full range, which is useful. I can also invert it, so now I'm going up, this is going up, down, it's going down. But let's say I invert it, so now I go up, it goes down, now it's going up. Okay, and I can do this with multiple parameters. So if I think, okay, I want to change that, but let's change the timber at the same time. So I just move to the one below it, do the same thing. First, make sure it's checked, hit learn, hit my mod wheel again, move the timber, turn learn off, and now it's doing the same thing. I can change the range or whatever I want. And so now you see both of them are moving. And I could do the same thing by messing with the values, etc. So that's one way we can do the MIDI settings. So let me actually get rid of that. Do I want to change it to default? I'll leave it how it is for now. So let me turn this off. Turn this off for now. And even inside, let's say I don't want to use this easy screen at all. I can do the exact same thing in here. So let's say I have 4. I can do this, turn this on, hit MIDI learn, it's hooked up to my MIDI wheel, and now I'm moving the equalizer, turn learn off. Now the equalizer is moving. Okay? So that's easy enough. But there's other things I can do besides that. So let's say I wanted to do the attack. Instead of hitting MIDI here, I can attach it directly to a multi-parameter by going into here and attaching it to a multi-parameter. And everything is exactly the same except the MIDI control or the multi-parameter is already set up for you. And then all you have to do is just move something here, turn MIDI learn off, and since I already hit my modulation wheel, it's moving. If you want to change channels, just do it here. You can choose all channels, channel 1, 2, or 3 if you have multiple MIDI controllers. So that's a very useful thing. There's different ways to use the range mode. There's quite a few here, so that can be a bit useful, although sometimes confusing. And so that's one really useful thing we can do with the MIDI. But there's actually more besides just changing the attack or release. So you see here where it has notes. We can do something with that too. Okay, so I'll try to give you one more example here. So I'll show this, and let me turn the noise up here. I want to switch from white to pink noise, and I want to use a key switch. So now it's on white noise. So I'm going to go into MIDI here. And here it's using controllers. I don't want to use that. Just turn that off and go into notes. So enable this. And so now I have nothing on here. I want to turn this on though. And I want to hit learn. Actually, before I do that, I'll switch this to key mode or switch mode here. So under values, turn on switch like this. Now I want to hit learn and just press whatever key I want. So I hit C2 here. So now it's learn C2. And let me hit it again and hit the white and pink. Learn white, pink. Turn it off. So now you see the minimum value is white and the maximum value is pink. So I'll just move it here. And when I hit C2, it should change. So that can be useful because if I hit any other key, but of course you see the problem here is I don't want to hear noise whenever I hit this C2, or C sharp 2, and it's number 49. So I can go in and I can actually limit that so it doesn't go down that far. So I want the first note to be, let's say D2, note 50. So go into here, edit, go into globals, advanced settings. Here the minimum, let's try D2, which is 50. Let's go back out. So now if I hit D2, I can hear something. Any other note. But then if I hit C sharp 2, you see it's moving but nothing's playing. So you can use that, and I can set this for any note I want. It doesn't have to be that one specifically. It could be a higher note or a lower note, etc. So if you had a bass and you wanted to switch between articulations, or you wanted to turn a effect on and off, pretty much anything can be modulated with this. So it's really useful, and it's a really cool thing you can do. So set this up however you want using controllers or notes, and have fun with the MIDI and all the other different type of controllers. There you go. I hope that answered all your questions. If it didn't, leave them below. I'm not planning a part 3 of this series, but who knows? If you have enough questions, I might do it. So if you haven't done it already, give me a thumbs up. Check out all the other plugins at meldaproduction.com, and until next time, see you.